My name is Pete Steinhauer. I'm a retired oral surgeon. I practiced my specialty here in Boulder for 32 years. And so today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about volunteerism here in the States, here in the city, and overseas. When I finished my undergraduate degree at the University of Colorado here in Boulder, I went to dental school at the University of Missouri. Having finished that, I then took a 3-year oral surgery residency program at Kansas City General Hospital and Medical Center. I volunteered for the Navy for 2 years at that time. It was a 2-year tour. They first sent me to the Marine base Camp Pendleton, where I was at the Naval Hospital there. And I spent a year there, and then I was sent over to Vietnam, where I served with the 3rd Medical Battalion of the 3rd Marine Division at Da Nang in 1966 and 67. For the youth that don't know it, it's the Marine Corps is part of the Navy Department, and the Navy furnishes the Marines all of their doctors and chaplains. Well, my basic duties were to treat the wounded. I did all the face injuries. At the hospital I was stationed, we had 4 general surgeons, 4 orthopedic surgeons, 4 anesthesiologists, several internists that took care of high fevers, snake bites, spider bites, things of that nature. But essentially that was what I did. That was my main function there. And all doctors going into war zones learn on-the-job training generally, because the training you get in big trauma hospitals in the States, very rarely do you see the high-velocity missiles and explosions that you see in a war zone in there. So the first few cases that I got, I'd never seen anything like it, where half of a jaw was blown off, and it was pretty much on-the-job training, but applying general surgical principles and what I had known. I figured after the first 2 or 3 I did, that was what I've been working for the last 8 years, for that moment, when I'd get that first casualty in that had severe facial injuries. I decided to do some, during my spare time, which I did have spare time when we didn't have casualties, I worked in a civilian hospital in downtown Da Nang, which was something that you never see here. Here, oftentimes you complain in a hospital if you have to share the room with somebody. There, in a civilian hospital, you always shared a bed with somebody. And there might be 3 or 4 beds in a very small room with at least 2 people in each bed with different ailments in there. This was an eye-opener for me, and I think this is where my volunteerism really started to take hold, seeing people like this and the need for the talents of doctors and nurses to treat their sicknesses, their wounds, and other ailments like that. In 1989, the Vietnamese government started allowing American veterans to come back to visit Vietnam. We still didn't have diplomatic relations with the country at that time, and so to obtain a visa, I had to do this through the Vietnamese mission at the United Nations in New York. It has changed so much there, because the first time I went back, they had no equipment, no supplies, very poor facilities. The doctors had been trained, most of them there had been trained in Eastern Europe, in Russia, in Hungary, in Romania, Bulgaria. And watching them do their thing, they're good doctors, smart doctors, but they had nothing to work with. We sent tons and tons of hospital equipment over. To see the change since 1989 to now, in 20 years, is unbelievable. They have good equipment now. They have pretty much all the supplies they need. The doctors are very well trained, and doing all of these things themselves now. After I returned from Vietnam, the volunteer bug really was with me. And for healthcare professionals, it's very easy to volunteer your time, although it needed to be done. Utilizing my talents to help is just like having to breathe. You know, you have to do it. And it just got in my system. In my private practice here, I took time off, and I would do a lot of free stuff in my office. And I started a clinic here in Boulder, the Carmel House, for there were 75 children that were either autistic or had Down syndrome. And most of those were on medications that, anti-epileptic medications that made their gums swell. So I established a dental clinic in this house, and came every weekend with my dental assistant. We spent every Saturday morning cleaning teeth and doing things like that. The surgery I'd do in the office, but would do that for free, and it was just one of the great things to do. And I really think that overall in volunteerism, that one gets the most satisfaction by doing something in an anonymous way, knowing that maybe not another soul will ever know the contributions you've made. But I always say that one person can make a difference. And it's like throwing a pebble into the middle of a pond. Eventually the ripples get all over the shoreline. And you can do all sorts of volunteerism. It doesn't have to be fancy stuff like doing cleft lip surgery. If you like to like animals, you can work with a Dumb Friends League in there, do things like that. You can volunteer if you like sports. You can volunteer to coach Little League baseball or Little League football. Giving blood is a great way of volunteering. And there's just so many things you can do. You can mow your neighbor's lawn if they're elderly and can't do it, or shovel their walks. But everything like this is volunteerism. It means so much to somebody else, and this is why I just think that this is the best thing to do. And again, you don't have to have specific medical talents to volunteer. There's so many things you can volunteer with, and this is just the way it is, and it's what I enjoy the most.